Yo, what's going on? Making another video based off the video I made yesterday. Well, not based off the video, that's completely wrong. Did not mean to say that. The video I mentioned about yesterday that I was going to make today, this is talking about we're doing a massive kick on sports returning. Another sport I've been paying attention to, very interested in, is the NBA. And I've got some notes here on what some of the rules are to do with the to do with the playoffs and how it's going to work. So we'll start off with the notes, and then I'll sort of expand on some stuff, maybe some thoughts. So it returns on July the 31st. It will be held at Disney World, Orlando, Florida, because it's a massive complex, really massive size. I think the size of a quite a big city in America. I remember it being. It's massive. It's humongous. It is secure. And it's got hundreds of thousands of rooms, I believe, and it'll be able to facilitate the entire NBA if they need to. So that's why they've got that, and plus they've got the ESPN World of Sports Arena, which is already televised ready. They've got all the cameras ready and that to film, because they film college games there sometimes. So it's ready. It was the perfect place to do it, and it's what's going to happen. Now, not all teams are going to be playing, so you're not going to see Golden State Warriors, the Knicks, the Pistons. The only teams that are invited are the 16 teams already in the playoff picture, and an additional 6 teams who are going to be fighting for the 8th seed, which I'll be talking about in a second. Some confirmed people that aren't going to make it: Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which is going to be big news for Brooklyn. They're going to be sorely missing their 2 star players. Many people arguing about KD. He should come back and play if he's fit. There's videos of him doing stuff that makes people under the assumption that he's fit enough to play. He says he's not ready for that type of intensity. You got to sort of have the man's word on it, and I believe Kyrie was out. Well, it was meant to be out longer anyway. So yeah, we got that. The extra teams that are going to be invited to play are the Pelicans, the Trailblazers, the Spurs, Kings, Suns, and the Washington Wizards. 6 teams are going to be fighting for the 8th seed in the West, including the team that is right now in the 8th seed. That's well included in that. So there's 5 added, plus the one that's already in the 8th seed right now, which is Memphis. And only 2 teams are going to be fighting for the 8th seed in the East. That'll be between the Washington Wizards and the Orlando Magic. So the the home team going to be fighting against Washington. Just trying to see. Okay. Everything on that page is done. The 8th seed in the West will play the Lakers. So whoever makes the 8th seed out of Memphis, Pelicans. So the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Spurs, and the Suns. Whoever makes the 8th seed out of that will play the will play the LA Lakers, and the 8th seed out of the East will play the Milwaukee Bucks. So, you know, LeBron or Giannis. So pretty difficult matchups for any of these teams. And I've got a players to watch section here, just a list of some players to look out for, but I want to sort of explain my understanding for the rules. I haven't got it written down because I was struggling to write it down with it making sense. So this could be wrong, so I would suggest, if you're that interested in finding out the seeds, I would research it yourselves, sorry. But how I believe it happens is if you're within 4 games of the end, if you're in the 9th seed, you are afforded 1 loss. If you're within 4 games and you're within the 8th seed, you're allowed 2 losses. I believe is what the system is. So it works on a almost single elimination type deal to see if you'll if you'll make it. So I think by that that means Memphis and the seed, is it Washington? Orlando. I think they can lose 2 games, but the other teams could only lose 1. I think that's how it works. But like I said, research it yourself. You'll get more information there. I've just completely butchered the understanding because I struggle to understand that type of shit. So I've got the IQ of a gnat. Here's some players to look out for. I'm going to give a quick reason as to why you should watch out for what team they play for and what impact they could have in this playoff. Now, the first player I'm going to pick out is, of course, LeBron James. Now, the only real contender to Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is also in this list, who we'll get into later, most valuable player status. He's definitely the most important player for the Lakers. He makes everything tick. He's a fantastic passer. He can shoot. He's got everything in his locker. He's the best player in the world, arguably, and arguably the best player ever. Although many will say Michael Jordan. Some may even say Kobe Bryant. But LeBron is definitely one of the best of all time. One of the best of all time, without a doubt. And if you want to see a player run a game for one of the top teams, be one of the top players in the league, he's definitely one of the players you want to look out for. Next up, I'm gonna say two players for 2 separate teams. Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. Ja Morant will be competing against Zion. Ja being a part of the Memphis Grizzlies, who are in the 8th seed, and Zion competing for the 8th seed with the let's get out of here. And Zion competing for the 8th seed with the Pelicans. Now, these two were the 2 top rookies of the year. Zion having an injury which cut his season short. Ja will most likely get Rookie of the Year. He's been incredible. Zion, when he's played, has been incredible. And these 2 rookies are the people you want to watch out as the future of the NBA. A quick synopsis of both. Zion is a power forward, and he puts the power in power forward. He's powerful. He's got a great vertical jump, vertical leap. He's an intelligent player. He can shoot. His athleticism is incredible with his speed and power. He's just an all-round dominant type player, very similar to Giannis Antetokounmpo, although Giannis would have the advantage in the wingspan. But Zion is a very powerful, aggressive player who will search for buckets. Ja is is also quite powerful in his stature. He's small, he's a point guard, but he drives forward towards the basket. He will zip, zap, in between players, and he will dunk. He is known as a dunker, and he's performed some highlights this season in his rookie year, which is incredible. And like I said before, most likely going to win Rookie of the Year. Now, if Zion wasn't injured for most of the season, would this be the case? You don't know. That's how good his season has been, but that's how good Zion is as well. Both these players are just the creme de la creme of rookie players. They're NBA ready now. They're the most important players in their team. I mean, I know the Memphis have got Jaren Jackson Jr., who's an incredible power forward. Jonas Valanciunas is a great center, but Ja is he's the man of that team, and the same with Zion. Zion's got some very young people around him, like Alonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram. You know, he's got some experience like JJ Redick around him, but he's the king. He's the king of that kingdom. Both of these kids are, and they're taking the NBA by storm, and they're two players you really need to watch out for if you're looking for exciting play. And if you're going to follow basketball, this is probably two players you're going to have to follow and reading the headlines. They're just they're generational talent. Now the next player, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't know if I pronounced that correct, but it's a very difficult name. If you read his name and you just think no chance, I'm just going to call him Giannis, and even you get that wrong because his name's Giannis. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, is an absolute freak. There's no other way you could really say it. He's got an incredible wingspan. He's got incredible speed, power, athletical, much like Zion. But this is the player that Zion will aspire to be. This is the finished article. This is arguably the greatest player in the world right now. He is the main reason that the Bucks he is the reason the Bucks are the most dominant team in the East. The Greek freak just makes that. He's the man for that team. He is the man, and like I said, he's most likely going to win MVP. Although LeBron was cutting it very close towards the end of the season. We'll see how the end of these final few games will contribute to the MVP race, but I think you got to give it to Giannis. How dominant he's been, the numbers he puts up. He puts up nearly 30 points a game. He's a Greek freak, and the best way I can describe him is watch him, and you'll see how insignificant you are. If you're one of these people that think, oh, you know, the NBA seems easy, just shoot a bucket, you know, imagine guarding this guy. Stop that guy from scoring without fouling him, and you'll see how insignificant you are in basketball ability. The next player, James Harden. James Harden plays for the Houston Rockets. And a shout out to Russell Westbrook, who's an incredible player. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, along with players like Steph Curry, who will not be a part of the playoffs. He will not be a part of the games before that either. Like I said, Golden State not invited, as Clay and Steph were both injured for the majority of the season, so you will not see them, but you will see James Harden, and there's been a stigma attached to Harden that he gets tired at the end of the season, and that he's a player that really just dominates the rest of the season, but his numbers drop in the end. Well, he's had a massive break now, so it'll be interesting to see how his fitness will be towards the playoffs. And also, there's been videos of him just absolutely killing hills, runs, and he looks shredded. He looks like a Caesar salad. He looks shredded as fuck. He looks real ready for this season, and he's never been this guy that's had the shredded body, that's been, had the fitness and all that. He's just been incredible. He's not been fat or anything like that. You just never associate. If you associate in that type of stuff, you'd think LeBron nowadays. You'd think probably KD, players like that. You wouldn't think Harden, but he's really proved himself, and he's one of the best 3-point shooters. So if you don't know what a 3-point is, you have that little rectangle, and then you have the circle on top of the rectangle where the basket is, and then you'll have like an arc around that. If you shoot outside of that, that's a 3-point. That's 3 points. And James Harden he's the king of that area. And there's a couple that could claim that title as the king 3-point shooters. The Splash Brothers being one of them. Splash Brothers being Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, of course not being involved once again. And another player who's on this list who's Mr. Clutch, who we'll be talking about. Next up, Luka Doncic. Now Luka Doncic is one of the most promising players and one of the best players in the NBA right now, and it's incredible. I mean, at the end, you can't say it's a bad trade because of what they got for him, but the Atlanta Hawks drafted in Luka Doncic, and the Dallas Mavericks drafted in Trae Young, and they traded them both. And now Doncic plays for the Mavericks, and Trae Young plays for the Hawks. So as soon as they made the draft, they traded. So they haven't played a game for any of those teams. And Doncic went on to be one of the best players in the league right now. At 21 years of age, I think he is. He's a point guard who can shoot. He's one of the most dominant players in the NBA in terms of just a baller. Like, he balls hard. He will dominate games with his passing range, with his points that he'll score. And he plays, and he's got a good partner in Kristaps Porzingis at the center position. He's one of these players you need to watch out for, and he is the reason that the Dallas Mavericks are a dark horse to win it all. The Mavericks are definitely a dark horse. And he's also one of the players who could be the face of the NBA in the future. Now, the player who I said could rival Harden at the 3-point range, D-Money, Damian Lillard, Mr. Clutch. Now, if you don't know about Damian Lillard, he is also a massive advocate of shooting threes. At the point guard position, he's incredible. He's a massive point getter, and he's one of the reasons the Trailblazers are even in the competition. I was watching a YouTuber called AM Hoops. Shout out AM Hoops. They're an incredible channel who give me all my basketball news, and I've got most of my information on here from, to be fair, so I feel kind of guilty, except for this last bit. All the information about the league and that was from them, though. The guy, Casey, I forget his second name. His name's Casey, though. Hey, Casey. But he said the Trailblazers are the biggest threat to the Lakers if they were to draw the 8th seed. And I could see that because you got a healthy Nurkic coming back. Nurkic's been out for over a year, but he's an incredible centre. And Hassan Whiteside is also a fantastic player. But the real meat and potatoes of that team is man like Damian Lillard. He shoots threes for anything. In 2 separate playoff games, he's shot a 3-point that has won the game. at clutch time. That is why he is Mr. Clutch, and one of them was from near the they were closer to the halfway point of the court than they were to the basket. Is that? No, wait. I don't know if they were closer to the halfway line than the arc, but it was damn close. That's how good it was. Really far away, and he shot it, and he hit the three, and the game was over, and they won. One of the biggest moments in playoff history. Damian Lillard, watch out for him. He is an exciting player. Now, the Denver Nuggets, and their star man, the Joker. Who is the Joker? It's Jokic. It's Jokic. He's a young centre, very dominant, very tall, very powerful. Gets dunks off, but he's also got good play in him. He also got good passing range. He's very complete. Same as another player on this list, Embiid. Although Embiid, I'd say, has a better shooting range. He's a centre. If you don't know what a centre is, a centre is usually the tallest player in the team. They'll be around 7 foot upwards. If you're 6'10", you're a short centre, which is mad, because as a man who's 6 foot and someone being nearly a foot taller than me, you know, there's a short centre. That's fucking mad. So we've got 3 centres here: Jokic, Anthony Davis, and Embiid. Jokic, as I'd say, is more the playmaker. Davis and Embiid are both great shooters. Although Davis is playing for the Lakers, and he arguably could be the face of the NBA in the future. If you want to know what he looks like, he's the cover star of NBA 2K20, and he's got the unibrow. And Embiid plays for the 76ers, like I said, great 3-point shooter, great mid-range shooter. He's dominant, he dunks, he's got everything in his locker. And he could be the best centre in the league, without a shadow of a doubt. And the 76ers, his teammate Ben Simmons is another player that you want to look out for. He's one of the best playmakers in the league. He's had criticisms because he's not taken shots as much as he should from the 3-point range, from even the mid-range sometimes. He needs to shoot more. But if he gets that to his game, he would be one of the best point guards in the league, which says something. And he already is. Well, he's already one of the best, but he could be the best. And last but not least, Bradley Beal. He's a shooting guard, like I said, very similar to Lillard, Harden. Great 3-point shooting, and he's a player who puts up a lot of numbers. He's probably the reason that Washington are in the position they are. Without having John Wall for a year, Bradley Beal's been the flag bearer of Washington. They're the players to look out for. Like I said, if you're not that into basketball, but you're thinking of getting into it, as someone who's recently gotten into basketball, the one thing I could suggest, if you're an Xbox player, especially because it's on the Game Pass, get NBA 2K20. You learn a lot about basketball, just the players, a lot of the time, and a lot of the time you'll be like, oh, I know that player. We'll see what he's like in real life compared to what he's like in the game. Let's watch the Lakers in their first playoff game against, let's say, the Grizzlies, because they're in the 8th seed. You know, Ja Morant, he's young, but he's so good in the game. AD, Anthony Davis, and LeBron. Let's see how they compare against those players. And it's a great learning tool of learning positions, how they work, the different body types that you'd usually associate with different positions, and that sort of stuff. But I'm really looking forward to the Premier League coming back, football, the NBA playoffs coming. It's all looking dandy, and it's all going to be done at Disney World on July the 31st. But let's see, who do I think is going to win it all? Now, I support the LA Lakers, and I think they could go all the way, but they've got very tough competition. So let me go with who I think is going to win it, who I think everyone else thinks is going to win it, and who is the dark horse. Now, I think you already know who the dark horse is because I believe I already said. So we'll start with the dark horse, the Dallas Mavericks. They have Luka Doncic, they have Porzingis, and they have a very well-rounded squad. A roster, American terms, they call it a roster. They have a well-rounded roster of players, and they're not talked about enough to win it, I think, personally. They have the ability in them to go all the way, definitely. As much as the Lakers and the Bucks, as crazy as that sounds. So, I think Luka Doncic, Dallas Mavericks are the dark horses of the playoffs, and have a very real chance of winning it all. Who I think everyone else thinks is going to win it. It's between the Bucks and the Lakers. I would say people would think the Lakers would win it, but a lot of people will say the Bucks. The two most dominant teams, the first seeds of each conference. But I'd say the Lakers probably have more people saying they'll win it. But it's a very competitive league. I mean, you could arguably, if Kyrie and Kevin Durant were both playing, you could have said the Nets, but unfortunately they're not playing. And who do I think is going to win it? If I'm honest, and this is complete honesty, this is 100% unbiased, it's going to be the Lakers. I've got to say, with the experience LeBron has in just grinding a team out who shouldn't win an NBA Finals, it's LeBron. He did it with Cleveland with good players around him, but he's playing with Kevin Love and players like that. He played with good players, but they weren't NBA Finals teams, realistically, when he won it. With the Lakers, he's got AD, and he's got a very similar backcourt of people who perhaps aren't amazing. Dwight Howard speaks to mind, a player who plays at centre, who's very past his prime. Kyle Kuzma, who's a good player. He's not an NBA Finals winner, but just LeBron is a winner. He wins, and he, in my mind, has a good enough squad around him to get it done with him and AD's talents. If he gets injured, I completely change my mind. So God forbid nothing happens to LeBron or AD. If he doesn't, I think the Bucks win it. Although you could give an argument for so many teams. Like I said, the Mavericks. I'm trying to think of other top teams. You could say the Rockets, definitely. The Houston Rockets are an underdog. Some of the teams that have added, you could say have a shot. The Trailblazers, I think, have a shot if they get that AC. The Grizzlies probably haven't got that experience, but they could cause an upset if they really wanted to. They could really cause an upset. I think they got the ability to. you know, there's quite a few teams that can win. It's a very competitive league. Yeah. But I think that's going to be it. That's going to be it for this episode of the Ramble. It's almost like a shit podcast, really short shit podcast about a certain subject. But the NBA is coming back. I'm excited. I'm excited for all the sports to come back. I've got BT Sport subscription. I'm gonna get a Sky subscription monthly, hopefully, so I can watch all the sport I want. UFC still going strong. I mean, fuck. Just talk about Cody Garbrandt coming back and fucking welcome to the Sugar Show and the GOAT of the female division. UFC's looking just like a fucking just looking incredible. Heavyweight boxing's never been as good. You know, you've got Fury, Wilder, you've got Joshua, you've got Usyk, you've got Chisora, you've got Dillian White, just stacked. And then you got below that like Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. Just boxing's never looked so good. Sport has never looked so good, and I'm excited for it to come back. By the way, this is a shirt I've been wearing. It's Rick as Goku. I like this shirt. But anyway, that's enough rambling from me. I'll see you later. Bye bye.